Far in the distance, the faint outline of a light takes shape, a guide to provide direction. For some members of the 100 Mile House Blind Curling Club, that light and the sound of their sighted guide's voice are the only things they have to go on. That and a little bit of faith.
You're just throwing your rock and you don't really know what you're doing and you can't tell where it went. That's the hardest thing. You don't know what you just did.
Every Friday, a handful of visually impaired 100 Mile residents spend a few hours on the sheet, practicing learning and socializing.
I probably have 10% vision. The rock disappears when it's about a third of the way down the ice. Then I can't see past that.
It gets me out of the house. It keeps me active. It keeps me out in the community.
The club is facilitated by the Canadian Council for the Blind's local White Cane chapter, for which Lori Fry has been involved with for 21 years, the past 4 as a national board member. Fry is a longtime volunteer and community advocate for the blind and says group activities like this are crucial for anyone with a vision impairment.
Through my volunteer work, obviously, I've come to understand that it's vital for individuals with vision loss, especially if they're not self-motivated, to become involved with things such as the blind curling, because it not only helps build their confidence and self-esteem, it keeps them physical.
Fry has spent her entire life living with Stickler syndrome, a genetic condition that affects connective tissue. In Fry's case, her retinas would periodically detach, causing further vision loss.
The retinas haven't torn in a very long time, over 20 years, but it's left me with limited vision. Overall, in the right eye, I have no vision left at all.
The syndrome she grew up with, now part of her daughter Randi's life.
One of my biggest fears is actually going blind, which is sort of irrational, sort of not, because it is a possibility. But I have so many friends my age or just a bit older who are completely blind or worse off than me. They're living in Vancouver, they're running around with a cane, they're fine.
I do remember my father saying that.
But Fry has never been one for self-pity, saying she doesn't expect people to make sacrifices for her, rather simply understand her situation, an understanding that she hopes she's instilled in her daughter.
At a very young age, she seemed to demonstrate a high level of confidence and self-esteem, and I hope by influence I was part of being able to, be the one to help teach her that. To date, we're very fortunate that she's not had a detachment. Because we didn't know where we were headed in the future, we did preempt it. So she's been very educated about visual impairment. She's been involved with the vision impaired community all her life.
When I do have hard days, most of my challenges come with reading a board at school or something. And thanks to Mom, I am confident enough to get up, go to the front, sit on the ground 3 feet from the board to write down whatever I have to. It really kind of annoys me, but I do it, especially knowing all of these friends around my age, that it's like, if they can get through it and worse off than me, I can totally get through it just fine.
Though life, like curling, can be difficult at times, it's that attitude that they'll be just fine that Lori and her daughter demonstrate each and every day, doing their best and doing what they can to help others live their best life. For Shaw TV in 100 Mile House, I'm Sam Numsen.